Well, to tell you a little bit about Daysia as a child, I have to take it back to the beginning. The doctor handed her over to me. The first thing that she did was to give me a smile. So that's how she was born. Daysia has been a very happy, energetic daughter.
Daysia was just a good baby. Growing up, she was joyful, she was happy, she was beautiful, cute. I mean, just her little voice, when we would record her, at different times, just that little voice that she had when she would talk, she was just beautiful. So growing up, she was just a happy kid.
She was actually the first niece in the family, and so we just bombarded her with love and gifts.
Daysia's an easy person to love and to draw people towards her.
Yeah, it was a happy time, happy family. It was a straight boulevard with unbroken green lights.
I'm a dancer. I started when I was in preschool doing ballet and then picked it back up in middle school and high school. That's something that takes a lot of my time. It's definitely therapeutic because it was something I wasn't able to do for so long. I was in 5th grade, and the disease that I was diagnosed with is dermatomyositis. It's a disease that affects both the muscle and the skin, and it has to do with inflammation in both of them.
Juvenile dermatomyositis is an autoimmune condition. That's a condition where your body gets confused and attacks itself. It was causing inflammation to the skin, the muscles, and the joints.
My muscles had fluid in them, causing me to get extreme weakness, lots of fatigue, and I just declined very rapidly.
Patients who, like Daysia, have calcium deposits for dermatomyositis, that's a very poor prognostic indicator, meaning that those kids in general don't do very well. Considering how much active muscle disease she had, how much skin disease she had, the fact that she had calcium deposits was not good news.
We knew something was wrong because she had a hard time getting out of bed. She couldn't walk. Her energy level was completely low.
Not walking properly and being weak, and that was like, man, there's gotta be something more.
I didn't really understand what was happening until a year later.
My sister, Duanne, called myself and my brother and got us all together and explained to us what was going on. I was just kind of trying to take it in.
When you have, in a few months span, a vibrant young child who's doing all the typical things you would expect a child to do, and then you fast forward a few months and they can't even lift themselves up and get up off the couch on their own. They can't even swallow food properly because of all of the effects of the muscles and the ligaments and all of the symptoms that were starting to show.
I didn't know the severity of the disease. I didn't quite understand what it was doing to her body.
When I come to find it on my own, I was like, oh, this is really serious, this is really scary.
I started understanding a little bit more of everything that she was going through.
Going 60 miles an hour to almost 1 or 2. I was a little confused because I didn't quite understand the disease.
As a mother's intuition, I think Duanne just kept pushing, there's more there, there's more there.
October 15, 2016, I'm literally saying a prayer for Dr. Alarcon Gonzalez, which is our PCP in San Antonio. And as soon as I close the book, the phone rings, and it was Dr. Gonzalez calling us, and she just said, I think I know what your daughter has, and I already called the hospital, and I need you to rush her to the ER. I literally remember just driving crazy through San Antonio to try to get to the hospital. And the surgeon said her muscles are liquefying.
I didn't know what was happening to my body, internally.
We had no idea what is dermatomyositis. Nobody in the hospital knew about it except this one doctor.
Even when you get a name to the disease, that's a relief, but now you learn all the nuances of what that could mean.
And they started talking about remission and all these medications, and I'm confused. Like, what are they talking? Are we in the right place? I had no idea the journey that was ahead of us with this disease and what our daughter was about to go through.
It's emotional because I think as a dad, you try very hard to protect your child, to provide the best environment.
If you look across the spectrum for autoimmune diseases, this is one of the most uncommon. It's about one child for every 1 to 3 million kids.
Why am I 1 in a million in the most negative way possible? Every girl wants to be 1 in a million, but like, this is gonna change my life. Lots of things that you take for granted in your everyday life were stripped away from me really, really fast.
Seeing Daysia kind of decline as she did, it's humbling to see that, and you realize your heart just goes out. You know, you want to take it away, right? As a parent, you're like, I would rather have that. You know, I don't want it for my kids.
It's awful. Seeing one of your students go through something that difficult.
I wasn't able to do simple tasks like getting up from a bed or a chair. I wasn't really able to walk at all. I couldn't swallow food without it coming out of my nose. This disease affects your entire body.
Sometimes the medications would make her tired, not only from just really the medicine, but just her disease. The disease itself, her muscles were just not able to carry her through a day.
This disease is so rare, there's only one FDA-approved drug for this.
I always had to like go to the hospital, like on Fridays. I had to do my homework in like a hospital, which is not like, it wasn't normal for me at the time. The hardest thing was just, for me at least, was just not being able to spend like a lot of time with my parents. They had to focus more on Daysia and not necessarily just like me and Daysia.
As she was diagnosed, one of the other things that was really hard for me was one of the medications that she had to take. It was an injection that she had to get every week, once a week. And we had the medication through this thing called an auto-injector. So every Friday, I think we picked, I would have to give her an injection in her leg. It was a chemo medication, and I was putting this into my daughter's body, knowing that this was gonna help her, but yet just knowing that I was putting this toxic liquid in her body, and it killed me every time I had to do that.
I was so normal like 5 months ago.
At the beginning of the year, probably for the first month or so, everything was perfectly fine. She was just a normal, just A+ student. I started noticing something was off when I would be direct teaching and Daysia would have her head down during a lesson. And so I thought something was a little off. You could tell she was lethargic. She had no energy. That's not like her.
I was exhausted all the time, and I remember having to take like hour naps in my school nurse's office and calling my mom being like, I can't do this, like I have to get out of here. I can't be here because I can't keep my eyes open. My body is giving out on me.
You feel guilty.
Yeah, you feel
Like,
guilty.
you have energy. You're 10 years old. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
But little do you know that inside you're being eaten away.
She's trying to identify herself, you know, as a middle schooler. And when she has to go to the nurse's office to go take medication or leave a class early because if she gets bumped in the hallways, she would fall. Being different and having your peers say, why are you leaving class so early? Why do you go to the nurse so much? You know, just even simple things like that were gonna help her, but yet having to answer those questions of your friends.
In 5th grade, I dropped out of school for so long too. I was homeschooled for a lot of it.
Homebound school is a program where a teacher goes to the home, into the home, and uses the same curriculum and teaches at the home.
But when I came in that first day, And I think she was in her bedroom and you helped her walk. And that, oh, it's giving me goosebumps because it broke my heart because she was walking so slow and so tenderly because you could tell it was very hard for her. The thing that I also remember is that over time, it was slow, but over time, I could see a little bit more
Progression.
Yes.
Strength.
Yes, the strength.
Yeah.
And that did my heart good too, because I was like, oh my goodness. It wasn't night and day because it was still, you were still having trouble, but you could see when she was improving. And again, nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're not at school anymore because it had gotten so bad.
You had just the right personality to allow her to be comfortable and to do the work.
She was always trying her best, and she did a great job because you put in the work.
That's right.
You did. You
Yeah.
did. I think it was, teamwork with just kind of how we did it.
I think everything about it was just like taxing on her body, like just
Yes.
being able to stay alert, stay up, hold up her posture.
But then you got more. Then she got more.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was very happy about that.
Being a therapist myself, I was in that mindset of like, let's help you get your strength back. For some reason you're losing it. Let's do what we need to do to get it back. And I would push her to do exercises, and she'd be crying as I was pushing her to do these exercises. And I was bawling looking at these pictures because I had no compassion, to her. I needed to ask for her forgiveness because I felt like I was just so hard on her, and I didn't know what she was going through on the inside at all.
I went from being so active to like not being able to do anything at all. It was frustrating and it was confusing. It was hard to not be able to like answer their questions because I didn't, for one, know what was going on with me either. Like I couldn't answer the questions because I didn't have answers myself.
If someone has a disease, I think any disease is already challenging and it can divide families.
Mommy, we never really film anything when we're in the hospital.
No, we don't.
Bruh. 3 seconds.
We had a very big support from different areas of our life that helped us to get where we are today. If we weren't praying people, we would be broken people.
It's a chronic disease and it really affects your mental health. The medications have side effects, so it really affected her mood. If they're teenagers, what happens is at some point they are much more likely, especially females, to have issues with depression.
The voices inside my head are really loud. No one understood me. I had bottled up so many things inside, and I wasn't verbal, and I wouldn't share those things that I was feeling. I became a person who felt all the emotions, and I was capable of feeling these things, but you wouldn't see it, and I wouldn't tell you that I was feeling them. Until one day I had enough, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
You're already grieving the perfect life that you thought you had. And then you deal with it with so long. But then you find out that your child doesn't want to live anymore.
That night on May 27th, I went into that mental hospital. They take every right as a human. You're kind of locked up in there. It's just hard to be in a place like that.
That was extremely hard. We cried, we prayed, but in the solitude of our room, it's where we completely lost it.
That day was a big wake-up call for me. No more. I'm becoming open. I'm telling everybody everything that I've been doing. I'm letting people in. I'm accepting the help that they've been wanting to give me for so long. That was the start of something new. I did vigorous therapy. It was like 3 times a week I was going in and laying on my stomach, just being able to mobily move my fingers. I was in the pool doing therapy, and then once I got stronger, maybe like a year in, I moved to land. I did Alter G, and it was like a big bubble that I would run in, and it would take half my body weight, but I was able to run and just get that form right. Progressively moving through those years, it took like 2 years to just be able to maybe run again, or I was able to like get off the floor. Those were big milestones for me.
There was a time where she was trying to show us, like, look, I can now get on my feet. You try not to get emotional because those moments are easy for any of us, but that itself for her was a big challenge.
I remember all cheering. We were like, oh my goodness, like what? Like what the heck? Like, and I think they were recording and screaming and just making it a big deal because it was a big deal.
I had a lot of good therapists who were just like, you got this, Daysia, like you can do it. And through that, like, I was like, yeah, I can do it. And even if it was gonna take a couple of months to be able to get myself off of the ground independently, I was gonna do it. I've always been that kind of person to have that endurance and have that strength.
The importance of success really depends on the family. The entirety of the time that they're awake and the interactions that they have with their family and their friends is much more important. And that really spells the success of the patients. This is a very involved, very positive family.
They're very intentional and they want the best, and they'll push hard if they have to because they know that there is no other option.
Through my disease, my family has grown stronger and closer. So we've allowed ourselves to be able to create an open environment to share what we're feeling. My parents work really well together. They let this bring them closer together and not farther apart. And as a daughter, I see that and I look up to my mom and dad. They know how to keep my family together because they love each other so much, and that's something that I want for myself when I get older. I want to be like them, and I want to be in a relationship like that when I get older. You have to show your face.
Daysia told me that you made 100 on that geology test you were studying for the other day.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Tomorrow, what time is your game?
6 or 6:30.
Okay. I don't think I'm going to be able to talk to you at all tomorrow because you're going to be out so late.
I have 2 days off next week.
Slay. That means you're going to text me all day. Bye, David.
Bye, Daysia.
Bye. That's David, y'all. He was behaving. I guess that I feel like I'm blushing. David knows everything about me. David is my best friend before he is anything else. David loves me for who I am and for everything that I went through. And he will always tell people she has a great story, and I want her to tell you her story.
Later on, as time went on, Daysia got really good and open about where she was at, being an advocate for herself and explaining and answering any questions that people had. And she wasn't ashamed, but she wanted to be like them, and she didn't want others to look at her or think of her any different than who they were. And so that's when the sports and the activities came in for her, when she was able to be a part of those. I mean, it lit up her world. It makes me emotional because I think about how far she's come, she really went from losing all of her strength to being able to dance, and do things that she always wanted to do. And being able to see her perform and do dances was where she looked the happiest.
Amazingly, at the end of 2020, she was like a complete swing up, another 90 degrees, but that was the highest that we have experienced with her, just going out there and experiencing a different world and volunteering in the community, building the friendships that she has built across the country. And she completely turned it around and she battled it out. And By the end of that year, she crossed that dark tunnel in her life.
I forget to this day at times that she's gone beyond of what disease have tried to control her, because she's walking around, she's dancing, and she's very happy. And I'm like, where's this disease? Because I don't see it. And I think that's when you catch the hope.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to get better. And she's going to continue to fight.
Something that I love and want to go into is the medical field. So being in school, I'm taking classes for that and just like my prerequisites and things like that. So that's been something I'm able to gear my focus towards a little bit more. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna help kids just like me. There's a reason for everything, and you might not see it in the thick of it, but you're gonna come out of it way stronger than you went into it before, and God has got you, and you find your strength in Him, and you find your strength in others and the people around you. And even those who aren't like me, I want them to know my story is something that can empower people and give people hope and strength.
To be a dad to a child like that, who at such a young age already know what perseverance is, already know what a struggle is, already know what it feels to be rock bottom and then pick yourself back up. It's amazing.
This is her race.
And if we can help one person through this, it would have accomplished a great deal for our family. Everyone has a story.
If you look at me from afar, you would never know, like, a dancer who's able to dance once wasn't able to walk.
She has a goal to reach, and she's doing her best to reach that goal. Man, that's my sister right there.
I see Daysia just flourishing. I see her going off to college and doing the things that she wants to do.
My prayer for her is to go into remission, is to be able to come off all of her medications, for her to be able to live without having to rely on medications to function.
I think it's fair to allow myself the space to mourn what I've lost and what I've been through. Mental health is still something that I struggle with to this day, and it's something that I try to communicate to others, that it's okay to feel not okay.
I want other kids to feel that same way. The more people who know about it, the closer we are to finding a cure for it.
I'm 1 in a million. Look where I am now.
Sweating, you're making me sweat.
Don't start, because then we won't stop.
I tend to mumble and I tend to speak fast.
Rewind, I guess. But Dave, let me say that again.
Don't put that in there.
Yeah!
David, ew.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Wait.
I don't know if I said that right.
I won't move.
What was the question again?
I mean, I cook noodle soup.
That's his specialty.
Cut that out.
Can I stop right there? Okay, can I start now? Yes. Can we start over? Tell me my answer. No, I'm kidding. Daysia, don't listen.
That's a wrap on me.